In this video, I'm going to be explaining how I would learn to trade Forex if I had to start over again. I've been trading 5 years, and through that journey, there was lots of things that I would change in order to speed up the process of me being consistent, speed up the learning process. So whether you've just started your trading journey and you're a couple of months in, or whether you're a year in and want to know the things that can help you improve quicker, then carry on watching this video. Hopefully it will help. Once again, thank you everyone who's liked, subscribed to the channel. Can't explain how grateful I am for everyone that's commented and subscribed and liked. I really appreciate it. And like I say, if you get value from this video and you want to support the journey, just subscribe, like, comment, and I'll get back to you. So I appreciate it, guys. So the first thing I would change is I would get into a community quicker. Now, it's one of those things because at first you don't want to pay for something when you don't trust the person. So for me, when I first started to learn, I was a bit hesitant to do so because not only did it cost quite a bit per month, but obviously there's always that stigma of, are they legit? Are they just scamming you? Are they taking my money? How do I know? So I did my due diligence and looked at companies and people that weren't promoting the flashy lifestyle. They weren't, posting the typical marketing tactics to try and get people in. They just wanted to teach people who generally wanted to know, and it was a solid community. They're not around anymore, so I can't really recommend them. But I was hesitant to do so. But the moment I did take the plunge, and I did, because I tried doing it by myself for a while. And it's not only isolating, and there's not that many people that trade who I know personally. So you're doing it, you're trying to learn, you're making mistakes by yourself, you're going through losing periods. So by me getting into a community and learning with an actual established company, not only did I learn from the people, professionals, making good, consistent money that have been consistent for years, that could also help me. But it's also nice being around. I had webinars in the morning where I would join and everyone would be learning, and you'd see the same people in there every day. So that helped massively because you felt a sense of, not brotherhood, but a sense of people, similar like-minded people in a group learning together. So it definitely helps speed up the process. So I'd recommend anyone that's thinking about wanting to join a community but concerned about the cost and how much money is going to be in it, are they legit? I think you do have to take the plunge at some point, obviously in your own time, but don't, it helped me massively. And I said to myself, I should have done this sooner. But that worked for me because I took my time and I looked for a company that was legit. It was not scamming or anything like that. And there are a lot out there. It's a minefield out there, so you have to be careful of that. But I would 100% recommend getting into a community, get around like-minded people and help improve you, and it will speed you up quicker. The next thing I would change 100% is I was so focused on the strategy, right? I was so focused on learning the strategy. But I wasn't doing the things outside of the actual trading hours, in the sense that I wasn't backtesting thoroughly to build confidence up in my strategy. I sort of trusted that the results were legit, and I did a little bit of backtesting and it proved that the strategy did work. But I didn't really understand the probability behind strike rate and everything like that. But by backtesting, I could see legitimately how many losses I was taking, how many wins I was taking, my strike rate, my average risk reward, everything like that. So I'd prioritise that more at weekends rather than the market's done and I'm sort of chilling. I've had a good week or a bad week. I would focus on the back testing. I'd also focus on self-reflection, looking at trades that you missed that would have banked you more profit, analysing my trades that I took. Were they good? Were they bad? I didn't do that as much as I should have. So I'd recommend anyone, it's not just the trading hours and the London session, New York session, or trading in the week. It's the outside of that which will help you improve. And like I say, I didn't prioritize that as much, which was probably why it took me a bit longer to get to where I want to be. So yeah, weekly performance, and don't just. I spent a lot of time mindlessly watching YouTube, like internet interviews of people, and rather than reflecting on my own performance and my own positives and negatives and backtesting my strategy and focusing on myself. It's good to watch these people, it adds motivation, but if you're watching people that give you tangible advice, that's different. But I was sat there mindlessly watching interviews and these things, and it was sort of like, not cope, but like, I feel like I'm being productive because I'm watching these successful people, but in reality, I'm not progressing in my own journey, if you know what I mean. So nothing wrong with watching, getting motivation, but also make sure you're putting the time in outside of trading to focus on improving as a trader in your craft. Another way I would learn and help improve and speed up the learning process would be I would speak more in the community I was in. So I wouldn't say like I'm a shy person or anything like that. I'm quite, sociable and everything like that. But in the community, I was a lot younger and I sort of just sat back and watched everyone else, and I didn't really make myself known in that community. There was in the webinars, wouldn't really ask many questions. I'd ask a couple, but I wasn't really regularly involved. People didn't really know who I was in that community. I sort of sat back and watched and listened and learned. But one thing I would do is maybe raise my opinions more and communicate more within that community. So not only do you build up friends and colleagues in that industry, in that community, that can help you outside of like the webinars, outside the videos that were put on in the community I was in. I sort of kept myself to myself. So one thing I would recommend is if you're going to join a community, just make yourself known in there. Don't be shy or anything like that. Put yourself out there. Make sure they know who you are, because that's the best way you're going to improve. You're going to raise your concerns of things you don't understand. You're going to, go over things and message them if you're struggling with something. And also like now, like people can help you get to where you want to go, if it's in trading or in another industry, or another hobby like fitness or whatever that may be. So one thing I would change is I'd be a bit more sociable in there. I'd answer questions more. I'd be a bit more vocal in there. So I'd recommend, if you're going to do that, join the community, but also make it known that you're there and ask questions, and don't be afraid to do anything like that. Obviously, I always believed that trading would work and that there's people doing really well, but I did have, and I'm sure a lot of people do, when you have losing phases and losing streaks, and sometimes you do question, is this going to work? Or like you get into sort of negative spirals in your mind. So I'd definitely work on that, where I would because these are all things outside of a strategy, right? So this is outside of when to buy, when to sell. People don't see this, but when you're sat there and there's negative thoughts, thinking, oh, am I going to continue losing? How much more money am I going to lose? Or does this really work? Is everyone right who's told me this is gambling, it's not going to work? And although in your heart it does work and you're confident, and you definitely have spells and periods where you do question things like that. How easy is it to make consistent money, and all these negative thoughts? So I wasn't aware of any of this. They were just there. I didn't self-analyze any of this stuff. I was solely focused on the strategy. But it's so important to be aware of this, and that's why I'm bringing it up to you guys. So if you have these thoughts, to be aware that, okay, they're normal to have them, but make sure that you rectify them and you sort them. You put them and categorize them into right, this is how I'm feeling now. What's the evidence to counter that? Okay, well, backtesting, I can clearly make consistent returns backtesting. I know people in the industry doing, communities making consistent money, making a living off it. So, because if you get into those negative cycles and then you keep losing, it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You sort of take a trade that loses and you sit there and go, oh, yep, see, told you it lost. So definitely be aware of that. And I just think that would be helpful to you guys, because it's not really something many people talk about. So yeah. And lastly, if I was to learn again, I would change some of the people. And I know a lot of people say this, but this really did affect me, is a lot of negative people around you that would, even if they meant well, there were negative comments, and the pessimistic view of trading or whatever industry you're in, whether it's a business you're setting up and there's negative people around you. I would definitely distance myself from these people quicker. I stayed around, and I sort of palmed it off as, oh, well, I know it's going to work. I'm confident in myself, and they don't know what they're talking about in that sense. But I would definitely distance it, because you don't need it. It's hard enough as it is to be consistent. It's hard enough to go through the emotional ups and downs, and then when you've got people around you sort of bringing you down, even if they don't mean to, just by making comments and just little digs at it, you don't need to be around that. And since I distanced myself from these people, I'm not falling out with them, I've not got any issues with them, but since I distanced myself, it made it a lot more clear thinking, and I was around people that were actually bringing me up and confident in me, supporting me, and believed in what I'm trying to do. So in the bad times, you can go and talk to them, and they're not going to sort of be like, well, told you I'm right. They're there to support you and be there for you. And so the quicker you distance yourself from those people, even like, I'm not saying don't speak to them again, but just put a little bit of a distance and a barrier up, because if you want to get to where you want to go, you need people to support you. So I would 100%, again, these are all things I didn't think about. I just thought, give me a strategy, I want to learn trading. But all these little things that add up can really help affect your performance. Like, imagine if you're a professional tennis player or something, and that you got people saying, well, there's a new player coming up, what happens if you might not win this time? Like, they wouldn't, Djokovic or someone like that wouldn't need those people around them. Or Djokovic, you're getting a bit older now, you might need to look to retire soon. Like, you don't need that. He's still winning now. You don't need those people around you. And that's the point in trading, is you need to have the correct people as a support network, as a team, to build you up through the ups and downs. And I definitely distance myself from these people quicker. So hope you guys like this video. I think it's a valuable video for anyone who's just starting out. So if you do get value from it and you like it, like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for the support, guys.